Welcome to the Citadel Watch. My name is Karen McCoy, and it is Monday night, February the 19th, 2024, and it's about time. Tonight we're going to talk about time travel, and we're going to delve into this through the eyes of several things. First of all, through the eyes of President Trump, and also through the eyes of Benny Wilson, who was, of course, our founder and our former leader. So I'm just going to exit out of here, people, and I'm going to open up our PowerPoint for tonight because I have some things that I need to show you, which I hope will clarify what we're doing and what we're talking about. And then I'm going to actually share with you some things that I have learned from Mr. Wilson and also from the live chats that Benny has done in what we call Divine Intel, which was the company before the Citadel Watch. So let's get started, shall we? So it's about time. Now, I don't know about you, but I had many questions about time travel, about the future, about the past. Is it possible? Is it not possible? What is actually going on? And I believe those questions that allowed me to meet Mr. Wilson, and I'm going to call him Benny. I don't want you to think he's like a show or something like that, but that allowed me to meet him and share with him many, many, many minutes, hours, days about his experiences. Of course, what he could share. He can't share everything. But I'm going to reveal as much as I believe I'm allowed to reveal to you tonight to give you a look inside the looking glass at what is happening on our earth right now in our countries that is hidden from our sight. But I think it is relative and important for what is happening with world events. Now, first of all, this is a picture of Donald J. Trump's uncle. His name was Dr. John G. Trump, and he was an electronic engineer working with the National Defense Research Committee of the Office of the Scientific Research and Development. Now, this is important, people. I want you to just kind of get your head around what is happening here. So Dr. Trump, that's Dr. John Trump, was one of the people who analyzed all of Nikola Tesla's papers that were illegally seized by the Office of Alien Property after Tesla's death in 1943. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. Tesla died in 1943, and he was in Donald Trump's uncle, Dr. John, being an engineer, he was allowed to work on his inventions. So we're just going to go a little bit further. Now, this is why I was alerted and I started researching and I started thinking and talking to people, because President Donald Trump posted this in his Truth Social account on February the 8th. And what does he say here? He says, this is a picture of my uncle, Donald J. Trump, at MIT, which is, the University of Engineering, long before it was woke. Now, these people don't post things just because they found a good picture that they thought was nice. We know that, especially Donald Trump, but a lot of different high level or elite or people in the public eye send messages to one another through things like pictures, through speeches, through hand signals, and all kinds of other ways. And we've been talking about that in the chat room, and it is real, people. So when I see this, I'm asking myself, why would Donald Trump post this out of the blue about his uncle? Now, what was the message he was sending? What was the message that he was sending? Was he saying that he knows something that maybe he's not supposed to know? Anyway, we're going to talk a little bit about that more. This is just my supposition. We're going to talk about a little more in the future. So, is Donald Trump sending a message, and who is the message going to? Now, this was posted in the Truth Social as well. And we see various figures here. We see Tesla. We see John. Here's Dr. John Trump. We see Donald as a young man. And they conglomerated these photos because here's Barron, and we're going to talk about Barron Trump. But what is happening here? There's kind of what I'm seeing is that there's a waking up happening. And not only that, I mean, many of you maybe already understand some of this, but I believe there's a pushing towards this because there are some significant things taking place in the background that are affecting our humanity. Now, I want to just read this article to you that was posted as well, because I found it very interesting, and I want you to listen very closely to the words that I am about to read. It says, marked parts, which are here, of the machine my dad worked on in secret. So this, he marked these parts that his dad worked on in secret. So who's talking here? Well, I believe it's Donald J. Trump. Now I want you to listen. The steel box column, okay, here we go. See that? Was new technology back then. Are you ready? Developed for the World Trade Center. The cable trays on the wall were insulated with felt, which was his idea, which finally made Van der Graaf happy. So, what are we seeing here? These are real pictures of the technology, the engineering technology that was built for the World Trade Center. So, I'm assuming that it was built in the World Trade Center. And as you can see, I believe this is actually big enough to probably hold a person. So, this here is a picture, and you can see the people working here. This is a picture of something that was built. And actually, it is a form of time travel. So all these pictures are very significant to what we're talking about tonight. Now, let's just keep going. Again, highlighted. And here, I just put it up a bit closer. And I wanted to highlight this because I think this is important. Now, let's go. Remember, this was old. This is not done today. This was by Donald Trump's uncle, who was using Tesla's theories and formulas. This was also posted. It says, through the looking glass, be ready to come. It says, the best is yet to come, be ready. It talks about hidden technology release. Did you get that? Hidden technology release. We have it all. And I believe Trump is slowly hinting and pushing for the release of hidden technology. Now, let's just talk about Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla was born in July the 10th, 1865, and he died January the 7th, 1943 in Croatia. Now, he was born in Croatia, but he was working in the U.S. Now, listen, I put up these dates because I wanted you to see that it's not that long ago. And I wanted you to also see some things that we're going to understand the timing of these of his years and who his life crosses over with. Tesla was very obsessed with time travel. He worked on a time machine project, which we saw. Maybe he succeeded because this is what he said. And this is basically, of course, nothing is ever told to the public, but this is what Tesla quoted. He said, I could see the past, the present, and the future at the same time. Nikola Tesla. Now, Albert Einstein published his theory of relativity in 1905 and opened a new page in the scientific community. He says, is time travel possible? So look at the time, okay? That's 1905. Tesla was alive and working on time travel. And I don't think these things are coincidence, and we're going to see others that are similar. Now, I want to talk to you about this book. This book here, it's called Barron Trump's Marvelous Underground Journey, and it's written by Ingersoll Lockwood. Now, this book has been talked about a lot. Maybe some of you already heard about it, some of you haven't, but I really wanted to bring it to the forefront because I find it very, very interesting. It is it was actually written and published in Boston by Boston, Lee, and Shepard. Now, look at the time. Look at the year, 1893. Now, it is classified as children's fantasy book. So it's a children's fantasy book, but it was written during Nikola Tesla's lifetime. In fact, it was published when Nikola Tesla was 28 years old. I find this timing very interesting. I'm not telling you anything, but I'm implying that there's a lot of things that I don't think are by coincidence. Now, this book is archived in the U.S. Library of Congress, which is located in the Thomas Jefferson Building. And of course, that library is the largest library, I believe, in the country. And of course, you can't just walk into it. You have to make a reservation, give them your name, etc. But that book is archived in there. And you can actually, I'm going to show you a page of it, but you can actually buy this book online, and you can actually even access it in PDF form and just read it. And I'm going to show you something. That's the SKU, but we're not going to go there. This is one of the pages, and this is the little boy with his dog. Now, if you look very carefully here, and I don't know how if you can see it, but this little boy, his face does look like the child of Barron Trump. Barron Trump, of course, being the son of Donald and Melania Trump. So this is one of the pages, and I read through some of the book. I haven't read all the book. It's a story about a child, and the child discovers him and his dog have all these adventures, and it's a kid's book, but it's interesting. But I wanted to read you this paragraph because I find it very interesting, and this is what it says. I turned many a wistful look up towards the wild regions shut in by their sheer walls and parapets, shaggy and bristling with black pines. For a low, mysterious voice came a whispering in my inner ear that somewhere, yes, somewhere in that awful wilderness, I should one day come upon, are you ready for this? The portals of the world within a world. So this book is very it is very widely read and compared to Barron. Was Barron a time traveler? Throughout the book, it has, it kind of illuminates and kind of leans towards time traveling. So, it's just very, very interesting. Now, is it coincidence? Is it coincidence that, the child is called Barron Trump? Is it coincidence? I don't know. Let's continue on. I'm showing you these things to kind of show you that there are some mysteries hidden from us that are more than coincidences, but shake our mind and cause us to ask questions that all of us, and for me, definitely me, want answers to. Okay, so truth revealed, technological advancements. The government departments have hidden many things from the public view, and that is true. Now, not all the reasons are bad, people. Like, sometimes there is a misuse of these hidden technologies. And we also know that there is a global, I won't say fight, but the people that have some of these powerful technologies, whether they be human technologies or extraterrestrial technologies, have dominance in the world. And so we're seeing that play out as well over technology. So yes, in a way, it's about power and control, and there is what I would say a hidden war for technology. Has that war been resolved? Probably in some ways it has, and in some ways it has not, because there is a lot of technology that has been around for many years, probably 50, 60, 70, or even more years, that we have never been able to see. It's available. It is there. It would help humanity in many ways, but it is not released to humanity. But the truth about travel in time is slowly coming to public view. Now, this is just my opinion. I believe President Trump posted that to send a signal about information, known information, and secondly, to push forward truth. That's my opinion. Now, I want to talk about the program. And yes, there is a time travel government regulated program. It exists, people. 100%. Just because it isn't in the public view, just because you don't know about it, does not mean it doesn't exist. It is hidden. It is only available to higher ranking approved individuals. And of course, they sign non-disclosure contracts. They have a high-level security clearance, and they can apply for this government program. Interesting. Yes, they can apply. And we're going to hear about that later on. So, Benny Wilson. We're going to talk about Benny Wilson, the time traveler. Now, I want to talk to you a little bit. Of course, I touched it a little bit, but basically what I'm sharing tonight is my journey to truth. Because these technological advances, yes, Tesla brought them forward. I would like to say, who was Tesla? Where did he get his information? Yes, he was a highly educated man. He had information and technology that went far beyond anything we knew and understand. And as we talked about previously, he was really pushed in the area of time travel. Now, I met Benny, me personally, not Tesla. I met Benny in March of 2018. I met him not face to face, but I met him on a show, just like this one. And it was what I call a divine meeting, a divine appointment. It wasn't planned. It was, but I believe it was positioned by God. I really, truly do. I know 150% that it was. Now, we spent a lot of time talking together on the phone or on, in Messenger or, whatever. And during that time, he was able to share some of the things that he experienced in his life, some of the things that he was commissioned to do, some of the things that he was connected with. Of course, he could never share anything that was under an NDA, but he shared with me as much as he possibly could in the time available, and I'm always, to this day, so grateful for every minute that he spent revealing to me truth. One of the things that he became aware of was that I wanted to know more. I wanted to know, and I used to say, how deep does this wormhole go? What is hidden from us? How much is hidden from us? What is truth and what is not truth? What is really going on planet Earth that we can't see? And one of the things that he said to me this. He said, Karen, you may not want to know all these things because it makes your life very complicated. His life was very complicated, although I found him to be a very, normal, simple man in many ways, but he was extremely intelligent, extremely. In fact, I'd have to say, I believe he was probably the smartest man I've ever met. And I've met some pretty smart individuals. But I think his experience, his understanding of codes, his experience in life and understanding what is happening worldwide, his experience in meetings, and since he was 25 years old, it developed something deep in him, some giftings that were so deep in him that, he could see and control situations and control people. Also, he was very heavily educated in psychology and engineering and the IT area. And of course, he was a banker for 25 years. And so he had a lot of experience, and that experience came out in many ways. And of course, he experienced many things with the extraterrestrials. And I'm not going to go into that tonight. Maybe we'll do that another night. But for tonight, I really want to focus on time travel. So, yes, he couldn't share everything with me, but he was faithful to share and give me his time to share as much as he possibly could. So, I want to talk to you about, so he basically, and really this is our prime thing tonight, is that Benny Wilson took a trip to the future, not the past, but the future. And he's going to explain some of that, but we're going to, before I bring him his recordings, by the way, not live, before I bring him his recordings forward, I want to share with you some of the information just to prepare you for what you're about to hear. Because in the recordings, I've had to grab it from different places because he never actually did just one whole show about his trip to the future, right? But he's going to explain how it happened, exactly how he got to the future. He's going to explain a lot of different things to you, which is very, very interesting. But I want to share some things that he does not reveal in that, but he revealed to me personally. And there was another recording that I thought it was recorded, but I couldn't find it anywhere. But I've been searching for the information, and I believe I have the gaps filled in. So I'm going to start by just going through some of the details so that you get an overview of what he experienced. So basically, he's going to explain that, but he went through a time porthole in the year 2019, and he revealed slowly what he was allowed to reveal. When he was in the different years that he traveled to, he was shown technology that he was not allowed to share with us. But now I want you to listen carefully, because he went there for a purpose. Okay, it's not, what I gathered is that it's not a flippant thing that people can pop in and out of time. It's too dangerous, and you'll hear exactly how it is overshadowed. But he went there for technology, to understand. They asked him to go to the future. They wanted him to go to the future. He told me that they don't get to tell where they go. He didn't know if he was going to go into the past or the future. I was also told that after he came back from the future, several months later, they told him that they wanted to take him to the past as well. But for today, we're going to talk about the future. So he went into the future to see the technology that was there. Now, Mr. Wilson was part of the new elite. He was a member of good standing. And he was also a person who was a person of purpose. Even if he sounded flippant on shows, even if he sounded like he was joking around or asking questions or saying things like, well, maybe, or whatever, I'm telling you, his depth of intelligence was basically guiding us to deeper truth. many of you, I could tell, because as I listened to some of the things, I could tell you didn't understand what was really happening. In the middle of the saddest one for me was in the middle, he was sharing his awakening intel of going into the future, and asked if anybody had a question. He asked if anybody would like to know more. And basically, he got answers like, what about Sheba? And what about XRP? And I was very disappointed that all people want to know is about money, when these things are what controls it all. Now, when he was away, these are things, some of the things he shares, and some of these things he doesn't. Some of these things he shared just with me. Sometimes some of these things he shared in the taping that I can't find. So when he was away, they provided for him for an apartment that he stayed in. I believe the apartment was in Los Angeles. He left his present time in his home in Los Angeles, and I believe he was transported to Los Angeles. Same time, same position kind of thing. He told me that the apartment that they let him stay in was very similar to a hotel or what he was used to. And they said they do that on purpose, not to overwhelm the traveler, because the technology is so advanced he wouldn't know how to use it. So they had a place for him. He did not take any clothes. You're going to hear that. He didn't take anything with him except what he was wearing. And they provided everything. Now, he was away for 1 month. He was actually gone for a whole month. I said to him, wow, that's a long time to be gone. He said, yes, it was. I mean, I don't even go to a vacation for a month. After 2 weeks, I can't wait to go home. But for 1 month. Now, remember, he also, when he came back, when they brought him back, he actually returned only 1 minute later than he was taken, that he left. So nobody missed him. It was like he was, I think if you were standing in the room, he probably would have disappeared for 60 seconds and then returned, but there was nobody there. His mother was actually sleeping. He's going to explain that in her bedroom. And he was back 1 minute later and she didn't miss him. But he's going to explain all that. When he was there, he told us, and he told myself, that he ate food that was processed in a simulator. In other words, he didn't go to a restaurant. It was in a wall. He chose what he would eat, and he said he had steak. He had some really nice meals. He said everything tasted really good, but it was all kind of simulated food. Now, we're starting to see that type of 3D type food being purchased and being made now. The machines are being developed. And in the years that he was there, and I'm going to share with you the years that he was there, he experienced that food. Apparently, it was quite prevalent. Now, he was shown many things. I believe he was in meetings, and he was taught many things and showed many things for a purpose. Everything's purposeful, people. It's not just a joyride. So I know for sure that he was taken all the way to 2050. He also visited, and I think his primary focus and where he spent most of his time was in the year 2030. He also visited, I know for sure, 2040, and I think he talks about that. We're going to hear that. And 2049. And he was in Los Angeles at that time. He was not allowed to film or photograph anything. He was not allowed to bring anything that would allow him to take pictures back. Now, there are people that have time traveled, and not the people that you see, the crazy people on the internet. He used to laugh at those. I used to say to him, "What about this guy? Is he a real time traveler?" And he goes, "No, Karen, no, 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 no." And when you see the complexities that you go through for time travel, you will understand how false those people really are. Now, is everybody false? No, I actually found one guy that I believe is a true time traveler, and Benny confirmed him as well. I remember when he was talking about the year 2030, and he said, "Oh, well, I'm going to be polite." He said, "Damn." Actually, didn't use that word, but that's okay. He said, "They actually did it." He was shocked because some of the agenda that was formed actually came to be. They were able to carry it out. And that's all he said. He said, "Oh my God, damn it. They actually did it." So I was a person, and I never pushed him further than he would reveal. I didn't say, "Oh, please tell me more." I didn't do that because I wanted to respect his boundaries. And his boundaries were with an NDA. His time was another boundary, and what he felt comfortable releasing. So honestly, I wanted to respect his boundaries, so I didn't push him. I tried not to ask too many annoying questions, and I just let him talk and share and reveal what he was allowed to reveal. I believe that he was sent there to bring back information that was important for the powers that be that he is connected to. That's what I personally believe. Did he say that? No, he did not. But sometimes I've learned with him to read between the lines, and I know who he is. He's not a frivolous person. Even his visits to El Salvador, although he sometimes made them out to be vacations, they were not frivolous. They had purpose, and there were meetings. And he even revealed some of those meetings, but I honestly don't think you understood. And the people listening to him, they were more concerned about when you're coming back and what are you doing, and did you visit this place? Really, when he was trying to tell you, incredible meetings took place and think about it, in El Salvador. Anyway, I don't get off track because I'm trying to teach you people to think further out of your own emotional realm. Unfortunately, you've been programmed to think only in your emotional realm, which is, I have a need, I need money, I need this, I need the RV to take place, I need cryptos to do this, rather than understanding that there is a deeper level of knowledge and understanding that is being revealed for the good of humanity, for your good, and will bring all that to pass. So, one of the things he said, he was never sick while he was there. He was well taken care of. And you're going to hear him talk about that he met the prophet Kim Clement in the year 2023. Now, he told me, and I think many of you who are Christians will like this, but he said he met him inside a church. I didn't ask him what church or what denomination or where it was. I didn't ask anything. I just listened. But he said, I met him in a church. Now, you're going to hear more about that meeting with Kim Clement. and what came of it. Okay, so of course we know that Kim Clement died and was not alive in 2023. So that, just get that around your little brain before we move forward. So I wanted to say too, he told me that there was more than one type of a technology or device for time travel. He said, I can't tell you everything, Karen, but there's certain things that my agreement has run out on, meaning he either wasn't told that he couldn't or that his NDA was over because it had been more than 10 years that he himself was working on this type of technology. So the one thing you are going to learn about is the pen-like object. And that is the object that they used with him to go through a porthole to an advanced time. There's also, he talked to me about a round glowing ball that you hold in the palm of your hand. He talked to me about little doors opening, like just a door where you can open the door and go in, which was a type of portal. He talked to me about other structures similar to the one you saw in the World Trade Center picture. And I believe there was more. This is just what I was remembering, people. I was not sitting there taking notes. We were talking for a long periods of time. So I'm going by memory. Most of it, what I'm talking about, is memory or is stuff that I found him repeating to me. So this technology, of course, it has advanced over time. When it was invented, whether it was by Tesla or before Tesla, I don't know. But it has been around for a very long time, probably since maybe even the 1800s. I do not think it's a new invention at all. Now, Benny told me about a man that he knew that was in the program. And that man was sent back in time. And actually, that man went to the time of when Jesus was alive. Yes, Jesus was actually a real person, and he was alive and in the area of Israel. This is what he told me, and I'm going to leave it with you. He said that this man was taken back. Now, you're not taken back by yourself. You go with guides, and he explains that, and you're going to hear that in a minute. This man said to Ben that he was taken back, and he was, listening to Jesus preaching or teaching, and Jesus noticed him and told him that he's talking to the time traveler and probably those that were with them, even though they weren't in the crowd. Remember, when you're time traveling, you have to kind of fit in. Your clothes have to fit in. Your demeanor has to fit in. What you look like has to fit in. Otherwise, you stand out like a sore thumb. Like I couldn't go back there unless I totally hid my identity and put long clothes on and covered myself up, took my makeup off, because I would stand out like a foreigner. And so it's all about, can you blend into the situation? Going to the future, it's not as bad because, of course, they accept time travel. So it's not, they would maybe recognize you as a time traveler, and that's just the way it is. But going back, it's very dangerous. And it's dangerous going forward, too. This is not a game. It is dangerous. And Ben was warned about the danger. He said going back was if they wanted him to go back, and he told me, he said, they want me to go back. And I think he said either to the time of when Moses and the Egyptians or the time of Jesus. He didn't get to choose. He said, I don't get to choose. They're just, mentioning it to him. But they warned him that it was very, very dangerous. He could die because, of the violence of that time. They couldn't guarantee his safety, although they would do everything to promote his safety, of course. Now, what happened, though, is Jesus himself, this is what I was told, and do I believe it? Yes, I do. I'm sorry. I do. There was too much that Mr. Wilson shared with me, and the detail and the understanding, and it was phenomenal. Really, it was absolutely phenomenal. And he said that this person was there, and Jesus noticed them from the distance and basically told them that it wasn't their place to be there. He basically told them to get out, but without saying that. But he just said, this is not where you should be. This is, it really was not their time. And so he wanted them to leave. And I was told that they did. Now, I want to tell you something else, that they warned Benny going before he went into the future. This is what they told him. And he mentions it slightly in the video that I'm about to play. But he doesn't go into the detail. Now, I believe in other shows he did. I don't believe, I'm just closing this off, people. In other shows, he did go into more detail for you. But for our purposes, I'm going to share exactly what happened. Because I do have people asking me this. And basically, Benny was warned that if he went into the future, and that if he had a sickness in the future, whatever it might be, that he may bring it back. Usually what happens is the body brings that back with him to this time or his present time. And actually, that's what happened. He went into the future, and in the future, he went through a time when he had cancer. And when he came back, of course, it was just months later, maybe 6 months or so, where he had his first bout of cancer. And of course, he went into the hospital. He was operated on. It was very successful. And everything was fine for many years until in 2023, he contacted stage 4 cancer. And of course, we know he passed away in July 23, 2023. So time travel is not always safe for the human body. Do you hear me? For the human body. Now, will it advance? I don't know. Of course, I don't know. But I do know that, I do know that, he had to sign off and all that because it was a very difficult choice to make. And he talks about that choice. And so we're going to go into, I'm just going to pull up, there we go. This is the 13-minute taping. And it's a little bit, because I gathered the information from different places. So please forgive it if it feels a little disjointed. Just grab the information as he's talking. It's very interesting. He's actually, in the beginning, he is in El Salvador. He was in meetings there, and he did a live show because people were asking him from a previous show. They were asking him, how did you time travel? What device did they use? So he's going to explain all that, so enjoy.
It was a process. It was a long process. Actually, I waited for 5 years before they chose me to come over and go to the future. But they told me the risk by taking that trip I could die, or I could bring something that I didn't want to have, or nothing could happen, you know? So, you know how it is that when you talk to your parents and you let him know that anytime you can die, but he needs to be aware that you're going to disappear. Sorry for that, but I'm in my hotel. A lot of people are walking right beside the window. So she knew about this thing. She wasn't happy about me taking the trip. I wanted to take the trip because I found it excited. I found it really, really good. So they show up one day and they say, Benny, they show up on my home. Okay, they show up on my home. My mother was sleeping in her bedroom, and they just went like, okay, Benny, you ready for the trip? And I was like, what do you want me to say? No or yes? So I said, yeah, just like I was dressing. And I said, can I take some clothes? And he said, oh, no, you're fine. You can go like this. I said, okay. So they had a little pen, a little pen. A lot of people ask me what the pen looked like. It was just like a real pen, but it was metal. It was a little bigger than a pen. So what they did is they just put the pen down on the floor, and that pen start flashing out lights, like red lights, green lights, white lights, like crazy. And all of a sudden, that opened up a portal right in front of me, and right beside the wall. So they opened up a portal, and I could see on the other side what it was like. And they just push you inside, just like that. They're not telling you go here, they're asking you, okay, just go inside, don't worry about it, nothing like that. They just push me inside. So when they push me inside, I end up and I drop heavily into a place, and it's like all of a sudden, it's just I see a flashlight right in front of me, and I stop and I drop. And when I drop in this place, there were 3 people waiting for me. But I just saw these 3 people, and then I fainted. I fainted immediately. So when I woke up, they were looking for me. They were actually waiting for me to wake up. And they introduced themselves. 2 of those people were extraterrestrial. One was terrestrial. Then I found out what their name were, and they were the guardians of the future. And one of them, it was a jumper. And I didn't know what a jumper was. It was actually a creature or creation or whatever you want to call it. I don't know if they are extraterrestrial or not. They just call him jumper. What they do is that they are being born with this power to jump from one age to another age. And they look like a simple human being. They can run faster than light, and they have a lot of supernatural powers, if I can describe it like that. That's the jumper. The jumpers are kind of weird because they really are nice. They play games with you, but you don't want to have them as your enemy. Okay? They have a very weird character. Their way they speak, the way they, how can I say it? They're kind of complicated, individual. But they're there, and they were guarding me. So they show me around. They show me around the future. I was on 2030. And by 2030, were a lot of extraterrestrials already, the extraterrestrials already were living among us. We all knew who they were and everybody. Some of these people, they were really weird looking, different colors, green, light, black, very black, purple. Some were like red color, depending where they were coming from in the universe. And they were living in harmony with the rest of the humanity. They didn't supposed to come in at that year because the plan was to bring them up by 2040. So actually this process accelerated and they saved themselves 10 years. And the reason was because the cabal was pushing for the climate change, the global warming, all that crap. So they have to come out with disclosure, and they have to come out with a solution, which was to have the interview, let the whole world that the only way they can survive was to allow them to use their technology, so we don't go and extinguish ourselves, because we were actually the sixth generation they were getting. We were the last generation, and things were not looking good until the interview happened. Then we were able to see a lot of technology, top technology we never seen before. As a matter of fact, let me tell you about next year. You want me to tell you about next year?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, we're going to push for a lot of electrical cars. We're going to see electrical vans, electrical flying cars, everything electrical. We're going to have a competition of the biggest brands, and things are going to go wild, and they're going to go crazy. They're going to come out with the, the scooter, the electric scooter. Everybody knows the electric scooter, but now they're going to come out with the electric, another type of scooter that will levitate. It will levitate, and they're going to come out with that scooter by the end of this year.
Yay.
And some people will love it, and some people will hate it. Do you know why they will hate it? Because a lot of people are going to get killed. All right? So be careful. So that's one of the things that are coming. They're coming in 2022. Is going to be a very difficult year for the rest of the world, but it's not as difficult for us. It's going to be interesting. We're going to see a lot of scandals, including the removal of Joe Biden. We're going to see the removal of corruption within the United States. We're going to lose Hollywood because most of the people in Hollywood are cabal agents, puppets, satanic rituals, or satanic worshippers. So when I went to the future, that's, I talk about when I saw the baby, and I thought the baby was a normal baby, and it just happened to freak me out when he started talking to me. It made me look like a complete idiot. And then I saw some of the things that I haven't tell you guys is because they told me not to speak about it, okay? But I only can tell you the things that I can talk about, all right? If they allow me to speak about this in later on, I will let you guys know. But there's a lot of information that I cannot release because they told me not to speak about it. Do you guys understand that?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So as they is the right time, then I will release it, okay? But one thing is for sure, you're going to have, in 10 years, you're going to have a different world. All right, so what can do you have any other questions? Do you want me to elaborate more about this, if I can?
Benny,
Yes.
how the medical would be, how the hospitals would be med technology and such?
Well, the med beds will be released next year, and they're not the one that you think you have. Okay? That's what I've been talking about.
Home?
No. Okay? At the beginning, you will have to go to a place, and it's not gonna be cheap. All right? And it's not the same places that people have been telling about. No, it's gonna be a different way, different place. And there will be disclaimers that if anything goes wrong, that's your fault. Okay, so It's gonna
Question.
release next year. Go ahead.
Are they made here on Earth or they're made somewhere else?
Who?
The med beds, are they made
The
here
med,
on Earth?
the med beds were created for extraterrestrial technology, but they will tell you that actually they came out and invented. They cannot tell you straight out that they've been using extraterrestrial technology. They cannot tell you that. That song that says, "I saw you in the future and you were looking better than today." What was the name of the song? Remember the song?
Yes, that
I
was the
you
song. I
in the
remember.
future and you look much
You
better
know
than
why?
you look right now.
Yeah. Do you know why? Do you know why he made that song? Because the Lord put him in 2030. He even mentioned 2030. You remember that? You guys don't remember?
I remember. I remember you said you saw him there.
I saw him there, exactly. And he's dead. He's dead, and I saw him there. It was another dimension. Because it was another dimension. It was another dimension where I saw him, and I spoke to him. Okay? That's some things that I cannot mention over here. It's going to complicate your life, but I'm letting you know that some of the things I keep it in secret because they told me not to confuse you, and they told me not to speak about it. In the near future, when they let me know, I will explain to you details by detail what I went through. And I saw him. He was live. Look, I went to the future for men and extraterrestrial technology. And that's why I got glitches and it's not perfect enough. King Clement probably was delivered or sent there by God himself. Okay, I don't think he died because of that. He saw the future. He went to 2030, and I think he also mentioned that he went to 2040, if I'm not mistaken. But I saw him myself, and I was like, "Are you King Clement?" He looked at me and said, "Yes, Benny," and he even knew my name.
Wow.
He even knew my name. And we had a long talk. Okay, we had a long talk. It was a nice experience. But I cannot talk about it right now.
And there you have it. One of the things that he said is he went there for the technology. And I believe somebody asked me if I thought Donald Trump was a time traveler. And this is my opinion. This is not information that I have been given and or understood, but this is my opinion. My opinion is, this is my opinion, guys, but my opinion is that Donald Trump would probably not take the risk of time traveling if he ever did, maybe once or twice, but my opinion is it's too risky. But my opinion is that they send other elite to the future to bring back information. That's my opinion. I believe it's purposeful. You know, Benny's life was very complicated. Although he lived a fairly simple life, but it was very complicated, people. And, you know, he would sometimes say to me, "Oh, you know, my life is complicated enough. I don't want to add any more complications to it. I need to keep my life as simple as possible," because, as you know, he was in a lot of meetings. He had so much information about what was coming. Now, one of the things I'm going to leave with you, I asked him, I said, when you travel to 2030, did the RV already take place? Was the wealth transfer completed? And he said, yes. He told me he knew the date, but he would never reveal it. I don't think he was ever allowed to reveal it. So he did not reveal it to me. Do I think he implied along the way? Absolutely, I do, but I will hold it to myself because, people, there's more to life than a date. And that's walking by faith. Thank you for joining me today in the Citadel Watch. If you liked our presentation and you would like to join our community, please see the links below. One is for the Telegram chat room called The Citadel Watch. Also, all the recordings are available of all our information and intel in our Patreon channel. The link is below.